Hey, everybody. Happy Friday, everyone. Labor Day is coming up, and hope everybody has a great long weekend. Welcome to the Rowe-Thrush Solution Selling Show. I'm your host, James Thrush. And this week, we're kicking off National Preparedness Month. So September is National Preparedness Month, and we have two suppliers that we'll be interviewing special just for this month. So to kick it off, we have Calpipe Security Bollards. But before we bring them on, what is the Rowe-Thrush Solution Selling Show? Well, this is a weekly podcast that we do for the Grainger sales force, where every Friday at 2 o'clock Central Time, we bring on a different supplier partner of ours and we interview them while we broadcast it live on LinkedIn and YouTube. Why we like to broadcast it live is that way an account manager or possibly a Grainger customer could engage with us, with the supplier and myself, and type in questions that they may have for that particular supplier. So if you're watching this in the future, try and catch us while we're live. Again, we do these every Friday at 2 o'clock Central Time. And with that, I want to bring on Michael with Calpipe Security Bollards. Welcome, Michael. How are you doing today?
I am doing well, James. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. Great to be able to kick off National Preparedness Month. How's your day going so far today?
The day is going great. Looking forward to a long Labor Day weekend. So appreciate you having me and letting me introduce Calpipe Security Bollards to all the Grainger people out there.
Yeah, certainly looking forward to this. And, my day, I've been having a good one so far. I kicked it off with a district team call with Ernesto's team, District 56. Sorry. Hey, 56, comment below if you're watching this at all. So had a great call with them and had a potential new supplier come in and visit with us as well. So not going to say any names or anything like that, but, we'll see how things go with that. So before we get into Calpipe and all that, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What is it that you do at Calpipe? How long have you been there? And maybe a little bit about your background.
Sounds good. Well, first of all, once again, thanks again for having me here to represent ATCOR's Calpipe Security Bollards. Really appreciate it. And hello to everybody who's listening. As you mentioned, my name is Michael Pucci. I'm the industrial sales manager with ATCOR's Razor Ribbon and Calpipe Security Bollard brands. I've been with ATCOR just under 2 years now. It's hard to believe that it's been 2 years. And really, my role is just to work with sellers to get our solutions out there, whether it's Razor Ribbon or Calpipe Security Bollards. Chicago is home. I've been here for 30 years, and I've spent 30 years selling safety products. 10 of those years have been dealing directly with the Grainger account, both product managers and sellers directly coming up with the right solutions for their customers.
Awesome. That's a great history that you have there. So thank you for sharing all of that. Now, I do have one more question to ask you before we get into Calpipe. And
Sure.
This is the question of the season that we like to ask everybody that comes on. And that is, what is your favorite band or album and why?
Favorite band or album? Oh, boy. I'm going to have to go back to the old days and say the one that I listen to the most is still Journey.
Very good. Awesome band. Good old fashioned rock and roll. That's awesome. Do you have a favorite song of theirs at all? Something that brings back some good memories or anything like that?
There's a lot of them, almost all of them. I've seen Journey probably 8-10 times, believe it or not.
Wow.
Wheel in the Sky. I love Open Arms. I mean, those are just the two.
It is very hard to pick a favorite Journey song. My mind's just like kind of going all over the place right now, trying to think of one, because there's just so many good ones with the band like that. So awesome. Thank you for sharing all of that. And also thank you for the music recommendation. I will be listening to some Journey this weekend, which, you know, Illinois in early September and all that, this weekend's looking to be pretty nice. So I'm looking to rocking out to some Journey in my backyard. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
So with that, let's get into who Calpipe Security Bollards is. It's kind of funny. Before you answer that and talk about them, the first time I heard about you guys when we first started representing you, I was like, "What is a bollard?" I had no idea what one was, and I had no idea that they're everywhere. And once I opened my eyes, I saw bollards everywhere: grocery stores, post office, any building really. I mean, they are literally everywhere. So really cool product there. So please introduce us to Atcor and Calpipe Security Bollards.
Sure. So Atcor International is our owner. They were founded in 1959, and they're based right here in the Chicago area in Harvey, Illinois. Atcor is a global manufacturer of electrical and safety and infrastructure products. Electrical is the electrical and conduit and fittings, while the infrastructure and safety is the galvanized tubing, traffic posts, and then the razor ribbon, as well as the Calpipe Security Bollards. Today, we're here really just to talk about the Calpipe Security Bollards. The razor ribbon will be for another time. And you really can't talk about Atcor without talking about the core values of Atcor. And when you talk about that, all you have to do is remember the word attire: accountability, teamwork, integrity, respect, and excellence. And that's what all 4,000 people live up to on a daily basis, whether it's work or whether it's in their daily lives. So once again, today we're here to talk about the Calpipe Security Bollards brand. That Calpipe is a U.S.-based manufacturer of protective barriers and boundary markers. In simple terms, we do bollards. Okay. We are headquartered in Hebron, Ohio, which is just outside of Columbus, Ohio, 30 minutes outside of Columbus, in about 145,000 square foot facility. We just added on a substantial amount. So we have a pretty huge facility where we can store and where we can manufacture. We have been manufacturing bollards since 1998. And it really is just about perimeter security solutions, protecting people and assets.
Awesome. Thank you for going through all of that. And the supplier I had on last week, they were talking about how they recently, they're about to start expanding their headquarters as well, because they're just growing, and they're adding another 20,000 square feet onto their facility. So that's great to hear that you guys recently grew as well, and USA made products too. Great to hear that as well.
Absolutely.
So if you want to learn more, please scan the QR code down below. We have a variety of web links embedded into that. That way you can learn more about Calpipe. You can see their products on Grainger.com, their YouTube channel, just a whole variety of things there for you to be able to look at and learn more about them. So now, Michael, please let's talk about what types of customers would be interested in buying bollards.
Sure. You kind of alluded to it earlier. There is not a customer or an industry out there that doesn't use bollards in some capacity. People who most come to us to purchase bollards are general contractors, architects, landscaping businesses. These are people who are usually buying it. The customers that use it: commercial, retail, government facilities, hospitals, energy and utility, airports. You see them at every airport you go to. You know, with COVID past us now, people got the taste of eating outside. You know, people want to eat outside. So you've got to protect those people. And, you know, so government, whether it's a municipality, you know, who has farmer markets every weekend, you've got to protect these people. So the truth of the matter is there's not a market out there, whether it's outside or a lot of manufacturing facilities like to use bollards within their facility to protect people from walking around within a facility. And you know, you've got forklifts traffic, you've got people, and you want to keep them in a specific area. That's what bollards are for.
Yeah, and speaking of manufacturing, warehousing, we've all seen the videos on YouTube of somebody not paying attention when they're driving a forklift and they hit a massive shelving unit, and you have a whole domino effect of all of the shelving racks getting knocked down. You know, very dangerous and everything, and having some secure bollards in there can help prevent something like that from happening. And you mentioned pedestrian safety. That's a big one too. And you guys, not recently, but, you know, within last 5-10 years or so, you guys finished doing an installation at a huge tourist area by the name of, you know, Times Square. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that specific story? Because you have a unique bollard being used throughout Times Square as well. But also there was something that happened there shortly after they were installed.
Sure. So in 2010, people from New York City came to Calpipe Security Bollards with a project that they needed. It was to put bollards in the Times Square area. You know, Times Square was a very challenging area. And not only was it challenging because of the environment, you have a subway right under the ground. You've got utilities, utilities right under the ground. Well, bollards, you know, a standard bollard goes down about 36 inches. They didn't have that. So we had to work within all of the organizations, you know, and that was another challenge, is that you had to work with fire department, you had to work with the police department, you had to work with the metro. And so we had to work with them to come up with a solution that's going to work for everybody, but also deal with the challenges of, you know, the utilities so close. So we worked with them, came up with a proprietary cam lock for the bollards, installed them. And as everybody is, you may not be aware, you may be aware, in 2017, there was an attack in Times Square where some gentleman took his car and ran in and actually killed somebody and hurt 20 other people. You know, you may say, well, you know, that bollard did exactly what it meant to do. You know, it was to mitigate the amount of people deaths and people being hurt. You know, you can go on YouTube and see a picture of the car on top of our bollards. You know, they did exactly what they needed to do. They mitigated the amount of damage that somebody was intentionally trying to do.
Yeah, and I would have used a different word to describe them, not gentlemen, but you know. Well, I guess we're trying to keep it PG here.
But after I said the word gentleman, I'm like, I wasn't going to go there, but thank you for saying that. Yes.
Yeah, and I mean it's a tragic story, but luckily, because these bollards were installed there and they did their job, they disabled the vehicle and stopped him from getting into the center of Times Square and possibly killing more people and injuring more as well. So awesome story there. And another one that kind of came to mind when you mentioned farmers markets and all. You guys did one somewhere out in California, Santa Barbara or something like that. There's a pier or something that you did some bollards too.
We did the Santa Monica Pier, absolutely. We've done bollards for Levi's stadiums. You know, those are some of the the big projects. Absolutely. When it comes to bollards, it's all about safety. It's all about being prepared, emergency preparedness. We protect
Yeah.
people and assets, and that is exactly what those bollards do. And and so you have arenas, you have any area where there's a large crowd of people. You have people who are putting bollards, and you see them you see them every day. And now with the smash and grabs, almost every time you turn the news on, you hear of another smash and grab. And so on a daily basis, malls, storefronts are calling us, stores are calling us and wanting to put bollards to protect that front entrance from people smashing and running in and grabbing.
Yeah, I remember a predecessor of yours years ago, him and I talking, and he said Apple stores were looking to do your bollards in a big way because a lot of people were targeting Apple to steal as many iPhones and iPads and other electronic devices, to do just that, the smash and grab. So,
Absolutely.
uh, yeah,
Absolutely.
that
You mentioned the Times Square incident in 2017, but there was also some other incidents just in 2021, the Waukesha parade, and then the one that is probably the most carnage was down in Nice, France, with 68 people dying and 468 people. That was somebody who was intentionally using a 19-ton truck to cause damage.
Yeah.
And so that's why you see all these municipalities, when they have farmers markets and parades and stuff like that, closing off the street with bollards, is to be prepared and for situations. It's a sad world that we have to do that, but unfortunately, that's the world that we live in, and that's really weird.
I remember when the one in Nice happened. I called my wife and I told her about it just in case she had not heard about it, and asked her, please call your family, because she's born and raised French, and she's got a lot of family over there, and they're mainly in Paris and whatnot. So, different area, but still, in case they were vacationing or visiting or something like that. And luckily, everybody was okay. So, but I completely forgot about that one until you just said it. So.
Yeah. People out,
It's
people
I'm
out
sorry?
celebrating Bastille Day, and
Yeah.
horrible person ramming a 19-ton truck into just awful. That's what bollards protects people from.
Yeah, and we'll get into this a little bit more, but you mentioned it was a big truck. They have bollards that, yes, they can stop massive trucks, traveling at 60, 70 miles an hour. And it's pretty cool to watch your crash test videos of those trucks running into these bollards and just watching the truck get split in half, basically. So we'll get into the different types of products here in a moment, though. Actually, getting into sticking with customers, what are some of the customer business issues that Calpipe Security Bollards can help solve?
Sure. I mean, it's all about, if you're a restaurant and you have people out there, it's all about, safety. It's all about safety, putting that barrier up between a person or a storefront and a vehicle. So whether you're sitting outside enjoying a lunch, or you're entering a sports arena, or you're going into a hospital, or you're at a substation, energy substation. It's all about putting a barrier, a protective barrier up between a person or an asset and a vehicular and a vehicle. And that's really what bollards are all about, is just having that barrier between people and the vehicles.
Yeah, and in so doing too, you also help with emergency preparedness, because you're helping prevent something from happening. So both safety and emergency preparedness are two CBIs that Calpipe can help your customers out with.
Absolutely. It's, oftentimes people wait until something happens before they do something. And that's what we're here to do, is to work with the Grainger sellers to come up with solutions so that these kinds of incidents do not happen.
Yeah. Now we're going to get into some of the product types that you guys have into Grainger, and I'm going to specify that we're talking about products that are in Grainger because Michael's actually coming on for part 2 later on this month. I think we switched it to the 22nd, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
He's going to come on again later to talk about more of the decorative bollards, some of the razor wire, the products that are not in Grainger. So products that you would have to go through Grainger sourcing in order to get. So really glad to have you on. This is the first time we're doing a series, if you will, with a supplier, but thought it would be kind of cool to split it up because there's just so much to cover with you guys. So,
Absolutely.
So yeah, let's get into the products that are currently in Grainger and the applications that they're good for, some of the ratings that they have and what those ratings would mean.
Sure. So the first type is our architectural style bollards. Okay, these are really your base plate bollards. They're really for the lowest risk type of application. They really don't have any stopping power. They're more for inside a manufacturing facility to direct the flow of traffic. They're really used to direct pedestrian traffic. This is the way to go where there's no possibility that there's going to be vehicular traffic. Oftentimes they're lighted. So that they light a pathway for people to know where to go. We all see them everywhere. Great for parking lots, warehouses, and loading docks where you don't have a whole lot of that. Those are the architectural styles, which would be the IBB and the SSB that are stocked items for Grainger right now. And then the next step up would be our safety bollards. These are bollards that have not been crash tested, but do have some stopping power. They're really there to create a safe perimeter to prevent vehicles from entering pedestrian areas. This would be your fixed bollards and your removable bollards. And when we talk about removable bollards, we really have two types of removable bollards. One is an external padlock one where you have a lock on the outside of it. And then we also have another one that is an internal locking, so you don't have that lock. These come in anywhere from 3 all the way up to 8-inch and larger, but they do tend to get heavier. Removable bollards are often designed so that you can have them in the sleeve when you want to protect and not allow vehicular traffic to come through. But then there are often times when you want to have either emergency vehicles or someone who's delivering be able to get into an area, and that's when you can remove those bollards. So those Go ahead.
I'm sorry, or like a service truck or vehicle of some sort if they need to get closer to the building to do some electrical work or use a cherry picker or something like that to get up high. So
absolutely, you see these oftentimes in hospitals, malls, storefronts, schools and colleges, gas stations. These are the industries that usually call us for those types. And once again, the safety bollards are your step down from your PDT series or your crash rated series because they have not physically been crash tested. Then we do have a whole line of crash tested bollards that we do have some set up with Grainger. They're not stocked, but we do have part numbers set up. These are perimeter defense technologies, or basically crash tested. And if I can talk a little bit about crash testing and the standards that are here in the United States, there's basically 2 standards. There's the F3016 standard, which is a 5,000 pound vehicle going 10, 20, or 30 miles per hour. Okay, this is for someone who is not intentionally trying to do harm. This is someone who, we've all seen it on the news, where someone puts their foot on the gas accidentally and they ram into a store or they run into something. That's the F-3016 bollard. Then we have the F-2656 standard, which is the HVM, the hostile vehicle mitigation. This is where you have somebody who is usually using a vehicle as a weapon. Okay, this is for a 15,000-pound vehicle going 30, 40, or 50 miles per hour. Those are the two standards that are recognized in the United States, and those are the two standards that all of our crash-rated bollards fall underneath.
Excellent. Thank you for going through all of that. Now, also with Grainger, so you mentioned removable bollards. There's an accessory that you would have to buy separate from the bollard, an embedment sleeve. Can you talk a little bit about that, and if there's anything special to note about embedment sleeves?
Sure. The embedment sleeve is the actual sleeve that is built into the concrete. Okay. When you have a fixed bollard, that bollard is there, and you can't remove that bollard. But a removable bollard, you have to have a sleeve, and what that does is the bollard fits into the sleeve. And then when you want to remove it, you either use the cam lock to unlock it, or you have an external padlock where you can unlock those. So the sleeve is actually what the bollard fits into, and then it can be removed or put in whether or not you're using it. We have 304 and 316 stainless steel, and all of our bollards come in carbon steel, and they can be powder coated up to 180 different colors. We have 180 colors, and we can do custom coloring. It does take a little longer, but we can, if somebody comes to us and they have a custom color that's not a standard of the 180 colors, we can certainly custom. I will tell you that the two colors that Grainger stocks is the safety yellow and the black. Those are the two biggest selling. I mean, almost everywhere you look, you see the safety yellow. Those are by far the biggest selling bollards. So those would be the two stocked ones. And then we also have 304 stainless steel, which is our standard, and then 316 stainless steel. People often ask, what's the difference? Well, 316 stainless steel is often used in corrosive environments. If you're putting bollards on a at the ocean front or Santa Monica Pier, that corrosive environment can corrode standard 304. So you really want to look at the 316 stainless steel.
Great. Thank you for going through all of that. Now, you also mentioned different sizes. Why would somebody want a 3-inch bollard versus an 8-inch bollard? What would drive that decision making process?
Well, what we see is, a lot of times people are trying to match existing bollards, and the size of the bollard is really just determined on obviously the larger the bollard. Not only the things you got to take into account is larger bollards can be very heavy. Okay, so if you are looking at a removable bollard, you got to make sure you have the manpower to actually remove those bollards. But it's really about what they're looking to accomplish with the bollard. If they're, you look at the street that they're on. If they're on a street that has a 50 mile per hour speed limit, then you might want to go with a larger bollard, because if someone's going 50 miles per hour. A 3-inch, a 4-inch may not do the job, so you want to go with a larger size bollard. So it's really a matter of personal preference and the environment, and that's what I can do. Reach out to me. I can help you determine what would be the right solution, what would be the right size. Understanding what your customers' requirements are, what they're looking to accomplish with the bollards. Had somebody reach out to us and they wanted to put bollards around a park where kids play, and 35 miles per hour, you probably want to have a pretty heavy duty bollard, because the last thing you want is someone to lose control and run into that playground. So it's all about looking at what the customer is trying to accomplish with the bollard, and then really coming up with the right solution.
Now, what kinds of new products do you guys have coming out soon, or that have come out here very recently?
Well, at Calpipe, we're always looking at, making, selling the bollards, installing the bollards, purchasing the bollards is easy. So we're always looking at engineering, and a perfect example is our Quick Core, our new Quick Core crash tested bollard. This is an F30 16 rated bollard. So it's a 5,000 pound vehicle going 10 miles and 20 miles per hour. So these are crash. What's nice about these quick core bollards is they were individually tested. Oftentimes when we crash test bollards, we do them in a series. They have to be installed in a series of 2 or 3. These have been individually tested. Um, and the footing, the foundation for installing these is much smaller. Our standard is 36-inch by 84, so 36-inch depth by 84-inch wide. Well, the quick core foundation is 32 depth and only 20 wide, so it's a much smaller. It's core drilled, so you don't have to bring an excavator in. You don't have to bring a cement truck. You can just mix the cement, so it's easy to install. We have been told by people who've installed them that it's up to 75% cheaper to install these quick core. So that's the kind of thing that we're looking to do, and we are looking to add these quick core to the Granger. So hopefully within the next couple months, we will have a kit. And the kit will be the bollard, the sleeve, and the rebar. It will include everything. So your customer doesn't have to buy everything separately. Yeah. They just have to buy one kit and everything is included.
That's really cool. Really awesome to hear. I was unaware of that. So looking forward to working. Well, not myself, but my counterpart that works with you as far as adding those products in. So looking forward to that. And those products would add another CBI to our portfolio with you, and that would be productivity, because you said it's quick and easy to install. So we'd be able to say that Calpipe can help out with productivity as well. So
Absolutely. Less time, less money. That's what everybody's looking. And you get the benefit of having a crash tested bollard.
Yeah.
And and they're both fixed and removable as well. So we will have both versions. So
very cool. Looking forward to that. Now, as we wrap things up, last question: what types of trade shows are you guys going to be attending here in the near future?
Sure. So the two big shows that are coming up in September is the GSX show, the Global Security Exchange. That's the big security show that's in Dallas. It's September 11th through the 13th, and we are booth 4352. So if you're at the show, please stop by. We are also doing the solar show in Las Vegas. That's a big show for us, and that is booth 140. We do a lot of regional shows. We probably do 20 to 30 regional shows that are really industry specific, whether it's venues, hospitals, energy. We do a lot of shows throughout the year. So I would say to anybody who's listening, if there's an opportunity to do a regional show for your district or for your branch, please reach out to me. I'm happy to participate in that and help get the Calpipe Security Bollards name out there.
Great. Yeah. And like you said, if you're going to those shows, please stop by and say hi, ask them questions, learn more. Tell them that the Solution Selling Show, that you saw it, and that's when you got the recommendation to stop by their booth. They would love for you guys to stop by and check them out. And I lied. There's one more question, and that is, what types of resources do you guys have that's available to the Granger sales force?
Sure. No matter how big or how small the opportunity is for perimeter security, if you have an opportunity, please reach out to me. We can do lunch and learns, whether it's in person or via Teams. We all have Teams now or some form of it where we can do lunch and learns for your district, for your branch, or for your customer. We also, next week, I'm going to be traveling with the Grainger seller in Denver. So if there's an opportunity, and it's a nice opportunity, we certainly can do a site visit and work directly with your customer as well. Engineering services. We offer engineering services. An example of an engineering service would be if your customer has a bollard requirement, but it's something outside of the norm of something that we have. We can work with them and customize a size, something specific. Somebody wanted a bike rack attached to one once. We can do that. Or if your customer currently has bollards, whether retractable or some type of bollard, and they're having issues with them, we can bring a technical guy out there, and he can actually, review what's going on and make recommendations. Oftentimes, the engineering services does come at an additional fee, but that we can so just keep that in mind. And then finally, the last resource available is we also have a FEA simulation. That's finite element analysis, and this is for our crash rated bollards. Is if somebody comes to us and says, I need an M50 P2 crash rated bollard. However, my customer needs to use a paver. We would have to do an analysis to make sure, because it's performing, the bollard is being installed and performing in a way that's different than how it was crash tested. Anytime a crash tested bollard is used in a way other than how it was tested, then we would have to do some type of a FEA analysis to ensure it's a simulation. And we will do a report that shows this bollard under these circumstances will perform as an M50 P2 or whatever the crash rating is. So we do have that available as well. And that FEA simulation is often an extra charge as well, but very well worth it when it comes to crash rated bollards.
Well, yeah, and to ensure the safety of employees, customers, what have you, to be able to do that simulation and make sure the bollard still works as designed, that's pretty important. So, thank you for going through those resources. That's great to hear. Now, when it comes to, sorry, having to switch around here.
Yeah.
So the next week, our solution selling show will be September 8th at 2:00 Central Time. And again, continuing on with the Emergency Preparedness Month special, we will have Bright Strike on. They do tactical illumination, so tactical flashlights for police and law enforcement, as well as other lighting apparatuses and emergency preparedness products. So make sure you check that one out next Friday, September 8th. With that all said, time to wrap things up, Michael. Thank you for joining us on our show today. Do you have any final words for the Grainger sales force before we close things up?
Well, once again, thank you, James, for having me, and I appreciate you allowing us to talk about Calpipe Security Bollards. And I'll just say to all the sellers out there, or anybody that's listening, no matter how big, no matter how small the opportunity is, please, you can scan there and get my contact information, mpucci@atcor.com. 773-308-6248. Reach out to me. We will have a solution. We will come up with a solution for your customer. So no matter how big, no matter how small, let's talk. Most of the time we can do it via the phone, but if a personal visit is warranted, we can certainly do that as well.
Great. And I'm going to pop up the information that Michael just gave right now. So you have Michael's contact information as well as my contact information. If you want to schedule anything or talk about products or have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to reach out to either one of us. We'd be more than happy to help you guys out. So, Michael, thanks once again for joining us. I hope you have a great long weekend and have fun on Lake Michigan
Thank
on
you.
the boat and all. And we'll have you back on. I think it was the 22nd.
The
So
22nd.
looking forward to having you join us once again.
I'm looking forward to it. And once again, thank you for your time today. And everybody have a great long weekend.